The morning after the terrible shootings in and around Atlanta, the police had a press conference. And on top of all of the terrible stuff that had been going on and that utter tragedy, like to add on to it, the spokesperson for the police talked about the motivations of the shooter, talked about the shooter in a way that seemed incredibly bizarre at the time. And we're learning a bit more about why that might have happened. But just in case you didn't see that, here's a bit of what happened yesterday morning.
The investigators, they interviewed him this morning, and they got that impression that yes, he understood the gravity of it, and he was pretty much fed up and kind of at the end of his rope. And yesterday was a really bad day for him, and this is what he did.
Okay, so there was all this stuff where he seemed to just be taking the shooter at his word and seemed to be trying to make the case that the defense is supposed to make eventually. All of it seemed really weird, Yasmin. What did you think as that was unfolding yesterday?
Whenever there's something like a mass shooting that happens, especially whenever there's a group that's obviously being targeted, in this case, it was Asian women. It's almost like the narrative is kind of boring, very predictable, very much like, oh, we already know what's going to happen, what they're going to say, what's not going to happen as far as justice being served or the families getting any kind of retribution or even acknowledgement that, these are race-related issues. But this one was fun because it was different. I don't want to say fun in the sense that any of this is a laughing matter, but it's just like, what the things that they come up with are just kind of mind-blowing. This one was new. He was just having a bad day. He had to eliminate a certain threat, a threat that was only a threat to him, a threat that maybe society had given him, a threat that our former president definitely helped instigate. But he was just having a bad day, and that's how he chose to react to it. It's very strange. But I don't think any of it, if I have a bad day, I'm not even allowed to look at somebody differently without my mother calling me out on it, so whatever.
Exactly. So all of that was incredibly weird, why they would have chosen this individual, why this individual would have talked about it in that way. But very soon after that, we started to learn a little bit more, and we speculated a bit on the show yesterday about why this person would be talking in this way. Well, it turned out that individual, Jay Baker, had previously in April of last year shared a post, I believe on Facebook, saying, "Love my shirt, get yours while they last." And there were images of the shirts, and they had a biohazard symbol, and it said COVID-19 imported virus from China. So not only is it xenophobic, but it is specifically trying to mimic the way Trump talks about it, not just focusing on China, but specifically how he pronounces it. So he loves his shirt that is demonizing China and lauding Trump's demonization of China. And then not quite 1 year later, that individual gets to be the first point of contact for the cops on whether race had anything to do with this. So the guy who thinks joking about China giving us COVID gets to evaluate whether the guy who's probably been influenced by that narrative for a year was motivated by racism when he decided to kill a bunch of mostly Asian women. That's a weird way that worked out, Yasmin.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's something that we see time and time again whenever these issues come up, is the people who are perpetuating the racism towards different groups are the same people to say that's not what's happening here. Whereas the victims are the ones who are saying, yeah, you don't get my life, you don't get my reality, you don't get what I'm dealing with. And you're not trying to, and you don't want to because it doesn't benefit you to do so. So when you have a man who clearly sympathizes with this white supremacist shooter, there's no credibility there. Who cares what that guy has to say? He's the same as that guy. Get somebody else. Why is that such an issue? Or why is that so controversial just to acknowledge?
Yeah, well, and to get rid of him, that might well happen. We'll have to see. Actually, we have a poll to that effect. We wanted to ask the audience. It's a poll available at tyt.com/polls/racist sheriff. It says, will the Georgia sheriff spokesperson lose his job over racist social media posts? So I'm very curious what you think. I mean, it might seem, well, like this is so obvious that they've got to do something, but remember, it's still cops. So who knows if there will be any accountability. In any event, after he was asked about, by BuzzFeed News, asked about that post, the public Facebook post became unavailable, which isn't exactly like admitting that he did it, but it's pretty close. And by the way, buddy, they've already got it. What's the thought process when taking that down? They probably didn't think to take a screenshot yet. I think I can get out in front of this thing. Not so much. Not so much.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.